breathing practice that we're going to start with tonight. Just get yourself in any type of comfortable seat. If it's not cross-legged, you could sit back on your heels. You can even sit in a chair if you'd rather sit in a chair than on the floor. So take a moment to adjust your seat. And gently close your eyes or take a downward gaze. And just notice where your center of gravity is. If you're leaning farther forward or back from that center point, or more to one side than the other. And if so, just try and subtly align your spine so it's right over the back of the hips. Start to feel your shoulders relax down and away from the ears, and allow your arms to feel heavy. And take a few moments to scan through your entire body, just checking in with yourself this afternoon or evening, whatever time zone you're in. And just notice what you've got going on physically today. Notice any areas of holding or tension in the body. And if that's something you notice, just try and let it gradually dissolve over the next few breaths. It might not happen right away. Notice especially if there's any holding in your hip flexors right now. And if so, see if you can let them release and allow the legs to feel heavy, just like the arms. Feeling the outer thighs and the knees dropping down toward the ground. And now that the body is in a pretty relaxed state, start to notice the movement and quality of your own breath. You don't have to change anything at all about the breath right now, so just observe your natural breath cycle. And the first thing I want you to look for is if there's any holding pattern in the breath, if there's any moment where the breath is suspended instead of turning itself over into either the next inhalation or exhalation, or if there's any interruption in either half of the cycle. So before we get into any breathing practices, we want to make sure that the baseline breath is just smooth and even without any holding or interruption. And then start to count along with your inhalation phase. Maybe do that 3 or 4 times just to get an average number. Notice how many seconds it takes you to complete one breath in. Once you've got that average number, start to consciously extend that by at least a second or two, maybe longer depending on your comfort level with this, but even 1 or 2 seconds is enough to allow the body to feel that extra expansion as you breathe in. And the exhalation will probably naturally respond by slowing down as well. And once you feel pretty settled in that slower inhalation pattern, we're going to take a breathing exercise called alternate nostril breathing. You may have done this before. So you're going to use whichever is your dominant hand, and the thumb is going to cover one nostril and your middle and ring finger will cover the other. And we're going to alternate, as the name suggests, back and forth. We're going to do this 2 different ways. The first way is the more basic version of this exercise. So you can go ahead and cover your right nostril, and the next time you inhale, it'll be through the left side. And then you'll plug the left and exhale through the right side. And then plug the right side, inhale left. Plug the left, exhale right. So you're just constantly alternating back and forth. So do that about 10 times right now. Always inhaling one side and exhaling the other. And once you've completed 10 rounds, let that arm relax and exhale normally. Just take a few breaths here through both nostrils and notice how you feel in your body. And then before we take the second version of that, I'm just going to have you reach your hands behind your back, clasp the fingers, roll your shoulder blades and elbows together, and open across the chest. And then extend your elbows by reaching the fists down toward the ground. If this doesn't work for you, you can use a strap between the hands instead. Take one more deep breath in. And exhale, let go of the arms. Let them relax again. Good. So the second variation of that pose, or that breathing exercise rather, after you inhale, you're going to plug and switch sides, exhale, but then you'll stay on that side for the next breath in and then alternate. So you don't switch quite as quickly. It's half as fast. So we're just going to do 5 rounds like that. So you can get your hand ready, and we're going to plug the right nostril and inhale just through the left. Exhale through the right. Stay there and inhale through the right. Exhale left. Stay there and inhale left. Exhale right. Stay there and inhale right. Exhale left. Take 3 more rounds of that at your own pace. And once you've done 3 more rounds, you can let that arm relax again and just breathe normally. And again, notice how you feel in your body. So that breathing exercise is one that is supposed to calm the central nervous system. Breathing more slowly tends to tell the stress signals in the body that they don't need to hyperreact. And so when you block one side of your nose, it's kind of like a 3-lane highway becoming a 1-lane highway. Traffic has to slow down. So the speed of your breath has to slow down because you only have half the capacity or the space to work with. And so that can be a really nice one, especially if you're feeling pretty stressed out or there's a lot of tension in the body. Even just a few minutes of that can really bring the heart rate down, can really calm physical stress. So let's open the eyes whenever you're ready. And you can come out of this seat and off of whatever you may have been sitting on. And move that aside. And we're going to unfold the legs, and you're going to take your hands behind your back to support your upper body. And just let the legs release out in front of you, maybe shake them out a little bit to help let go of being in that seated posture. And then we'll bend the knees and take the feet about as wide as your mat. And squeeze the shoulder blades together, lift your chest and ribcage as high as you can, arching the upper back. Take 3 deep breaths here. And with your last exhalation, let the ribcage and chest release to a neutral position. And we're going to drop the knees back and forth like windshield wipers, side to side. Just warming up the hips here. And the next time your knees drop to the right side of your mat, let them stay down there. Come off of your left hand and twist toward the back of your mat. You can separate your hands about shoulder width apart, and you're going to press against the mat to rotate from the navel all the way up the spine. Nice twist for the lumbar region. And notice what's going on in your shoulders. If they're pulling up by your neck as you do this, try and glide them down. You can rotate your head as well to look over that right shoulder. And then you're going to keep your right hand on the mat to support the upper body. We're going to inhale and raise the left arm forward and up. You can look up and gently lean back, opening the chest. Exhale and take that hand back down. We're going to do that once more. Inhale, reach it up, lean back and open the chest. Exhale, let it go. Good, let's unwind the twist and take that to the other side. So knees to the left. You're going to come off your right hand, twist to the back of the room, and space your palms about shoulder width apart. The stronger you press against the floor, the more intense you'll feel that twist. So you can really control the intensity in the lower back here. Again, check that the shoulders are drawing down, and you can turn your head as well if you like, looking over the left shoulder. Okay, we're going to keep the left hand on the floor. Inhale, raise the right arm forward and up, and then lift your sternum gently, arching the upper back, and then exhale, take the hand back to the floor. Good. Again, inhale, lift and open the chest. Exhale and let it go. Good. Let's unwind the twist and face forward here again. You're going to keep the feet about as wide as your mat. Lean forward and hold on to the front of the shins or the ankles. Pull against that point and take a deep breath in, lifting up nice and tall through the spine. Tuck the chin as you exhale and fold forward through the legs, allowing your head to drop so the neck lengthens. Getting some nice traction down the spine and through the lower back. Take 5 breaths here. And the next time that you inhale, lift yourself back upright. Good, we're gonna bring the legs together and cross the ankles in front of you so you can lean forward and step out into table pose, adjusting yourself so that you're toward the front of your mat. Let's line the hips over the knees and the shoulders over the wrists. We'll take some spinal waves. Inhale, lift your tailbone, chest and chin, looking forward or up. Exhale, round the spine and tuck the tailbone and chin. Again, inhaling to extend all the way through the spine. Exhale to flex the spine. So just do that several more times in each direction, moving at the speed of your own breath. And the next time you exhale can be your last round. And inhale, return to a neutral table pose. You'll walk the arms out in front of you, keeping the hands about shoulder width apart. And then exhale, let your chest, armpits, and forehead move down toward the floor for half down dog. Keep your hips in line over the knees and press strongly against the hands so the arms remain active. Spine pulling deeper into your body. 5 breaths here. And the next time you inhale, go ahead and lift back up, planting the palms under the shoulders. We're going to take a lateral stretch here. You're going to step your left foot back and then cross that foot over the right leg so you can see it in your peripheral vision here. The next time you exhale, squeeze your right shoulder toward your right hip. You should start to feel the left lower side get a nice long stretch here. Creating a C curvature in the spine. Each time you exhale, see if you can contract just a bit more, finding more length in the waist. And the next time that you inhale, bring the shoulders back in line over the hands, and then uncross that leg, putting the knee back to table. Take the other side. I just need to turn myself around so I can do that. Right foot is going to step back and then cross it over your left leg on the floor so you can see the foot. And exhale, left shoulder toward the left hip. Nice lateral bend here. Feeling that contraction with each exhalation phase. The next time you inhale, bring the shoulders back in line for table, and then exhale, uncross that leg, knee back to the mat. We're going to take threading the needle from here. Inhale and raise the right arm up and open to the right side. Exhale, slide that arm underneath you, bringing the shoulder and the side of the head down to the floor. If it doesn't touch, you can place a blanket here to support your shoulder. Let's come up on the fingertips of the left hand and move it over a little bit, maybe even off of your mat. And push the floor strongly with that hand to lean back on the right shoulder. You want to feel the scapula start separating away from your spine here. Settle into a nice, steady, even rhythm to your breath. So deep spinal twist from the lumbar all the way up, and this great separation of the shoulder here. You can stay where you are if you want the second phase of the pose. Try raising your left arm up into the air, and then gradually letting the weight of that arm fall back in space to open the chest. You can stay there, or if you're familiar with the half bind, rotate the arm in and then wrap it around your back, tucking the hand near the right hip or in front of the thigh. If you took that half bind, we're going to inhale and reach the arm up, and then we'll all exhale, put the hand down if it was there, and then push the floor. Inhale, come off the shoulder, and twist again to the right, reaching up. Good, exhale, let that go. We'll take the other side from here. Inhale and raise your left arm up. Exhale, sweep that arm underneath you, bringing the shoulder down to the floor along with the side of your head. Move your right hand over and push down through the fingertips against the floor to lean back and feel that separation of your left shoulder blade. Nice, deep, steady breath. If you feel stable here and want to take the next variation, start by raising the right arm up and then gradually letting it fall back in space, opening through the chest, and finally rotating the arm, wrapping it around the back for the half bind. And if you're in the bind, we're going to inhale, reach the arm up. Exhale, put the hand back on the floor, and then we'll all press the mat, inhaling to come off of the shoulder and back to that twist, reaching up through the left arm, and exhale, let it go. Good, from here, walk your hands maybe 6 or 7 inches ahead of your shoulders. Tuck the toes, and we're going to press the hips back, extending the spine and arms, and then lift the knees and hips up for downward facing dog. You can do this one with your knees pretty well bent since we haven't stretched the hamstrings yet at all, especially if you're on the tighter side there. I want you to focus this first down dog on extending the spine as much as possible. So really push your mat, extend the arms, the shoulders, let your head and neck fall down. And take at least 5 more breaths here. Last breath in, and exhale, release. Take your knees a little wider apart than hip width, point the toes, and sit back into child's pose, and allow your shoulders and arms to completely relax. So you can adjust them wherever they need to be so the shoulders gently melt toward the floor. And notice how you feel through your entire spine right now. And see if you can come back to that slower breath cycle. And then from here, when you're ready, you're going to lift yourself back into table pose. You can bring the knees together and now walk the knees maybe half a foot back. And from here, we're going to exhale and lower yourself to the floor. I'm going to push my props away. So we're going to work on cobra pose. Point the toes and squeeze the legs together. Check that your palms are right in line outside of the chest, and squeeze your shoulder blades and elbows in toward the spine. And then also see if you can slide your shoulder blades back toward your hips so there's no tension in the top of the shoulders. The next time that you exhale, lift your rib cage and chest up off the floor, just low cobra, using the strength of the lower back. Good, deep breath against the floor. One more inhalation. And exhale, release. You can turn your head down to one side and let the arms relax with the palms facing up toward the ceiling. Just take a few breaths here. We're going to come into that one more time. You can bring the forehead down, palms right outside of the chest so the elbows point up. You're going to squeeze the legs together, and let's get that shoulder engagement. They're going to draw in, but also back away from your hips. Then exhale, lift into low cobra. Good, rely on just the strength from your lower back to do this pose. If you're not sure, try taking your hands off the floor. You shouldn't drop, right? So it's really low. Just letting the lumbar do all the work. One more breath in. Exhale, you can turn your head to the other side, let your arms relax and flip the palms up. A few breaths here to let your shoulders relax. And then when you're ready to bring yourself up, you can put your forehead down and the hands outside the chest. Tuck your toes and press back up to the knees. And then we're going to come back to down dog. Plant the palms, shoulder width apart, hips back, and lift. Good. This time in down dog, once you've established your stance and the spacing between the hands and feet, then we're going to bend the left knee deeply and reach the right heel down toward the floor, lengthening through the back of the calves and the Achilles tendon. And then do the same for the other side. Bend the right knee deeply and reach the left heel as low to the ground as you can. Do that once more for each side. And then finding your regular down dog stance, you're going to look forward at your hands and take a deep breath in. Exhale, walk your feet to the front of the mat. And once you're there, bend the knees slightly and hang over the legs in a forward fold. I want you to get your upper body as close to the thighs as you can. So if there's a lot of space there, just keep bending the knees more. Our goal is to really decompress the lower back here. So we want to get lots of length in the lumbar and feel that energy move all the way down the spine, out the crown of the head. If you like, you can wrap the forearms around the calves and hold the back of your ankles here. And if you're doing that, just notice where the shoulders are. If they tighten up by the neck, just try and consciously glide the shoulder blades back. You want to keep that space free of tension. Good, let go of the calves if you were holding them, let the arms just dangle down. If the hands don't meet the floor here, bend your knees more. You're gonna put the hands on the floor or your blocks and step the left leg back so that you're in a lunge position. Once you've made it there, you can adjust the distance if you need to. You wanna have a nice deep bend in the right knee. The left leg is going to stay up for our first variation here. We're going to take a twist with the left hand down. We're going to rotate and extend the right arm up. Feel that twist start in the lower part of your spine and work its way all the way up, rotating the rib cage and the chest. And you can even look up if that's comfortable to rotate in the neck. One more deep breath in. Exhale, release the right hand to the floor, and then bring the back knee down to the floor. Let's take the low lunge variation. Go ahead and gently sink down into the hips. Try and let your upper body rest on the right thigh for now. And again, notice how your shoulders feel. If you feel that tension up to the neck, just try and consciously glide them back. From here, we're going to inhale, reach the arms forward and up. Find balance in crescent lunge, drawing the spine back in line over the hips, and then start to lift upward out of the lower back. Feel that energy move all the way up the spine, and then through the arms all the way to the tips of the fingers. One more deep breath in. Exhale and release. Press against your front foot and send the hips back for a half split. You can move your hands or blocks back with you and pull the toes up off of the floor. So it's just your heel pressing down against the mat to help lengthen the hamstrings here on the right side. Take 3 more deep breaths. And then with your next breath out, return to your lunge position. We're gonna lift the back knee up off of the ground, plant the palms, and step back and lift up to downward facing dog. Adjust your feet as you need to, spread the fingers widely, and press against the palms. And just see if you notice a difference between the right and left leg. One more breath in, look forward. Again, as you exhale, walk the feet up to the front of your mat. And once you get there, slight bend to the knees, we're gonna hang over the legs again. Decompressing the spine, rib cage close to your thighs. And this time you're gonna hold on to your elbows, crossing at the forearms here. And now allow your shoulder blades to completely sink down. Gently sway your torso side to side like a pendulum, letting that movement start in the low back. And then gradually stop that motion and let go of the elbows. Again, if your hands don't touch the floor here, bend the knees more. We're gonna plant the hands on the floor of the blocks and step your right leg all the way back, finding this lunge position. Once you're in the lunge, you can make any adjustments if you need to. We're gonna take our spinal twist. Right hand will stay down, rotate and extend the left arm up. A nice deep, steady breath here, rotating from the lumbar. Draw your navel, rib cage, and chest open to the side here, and maybe even turning your head to look up. One more inhalation. Exhale, release the hand, and then bring your back knee gently to the floor. Low lunge. Take a moment to gently sink down into the hips, glide the shoulders back if they feel tense, and breathe against the top of your left thigh. From here, the next time you inhale, reach the arms up, drawing your spine back in line over the hips for crescent lunge. And then start to lift up out of the lower back. Keep that energy moving up the spine, and then actively reach up the arms as well. One more deep breath in. Exhale, release the pose. Send the hips back and extend the left leg. You can move your hands or blocks with you and pull the toes up off of the ground. So it's just the heel pressing against the mat as you try and lengthen through the hamstrings here. One more deep breath in, and then exhale, take it back to your lunge. Lift the back knee off of the mat, and again, we're gonna step back and lift to downward facing dog. Spread the fingers widely apart, press against the mat as you extend the spine, and let your head and neck release. Let's take 5 deep breaths here. Good. The next time that you exhale, gently lower your knees to the mat. This time we're going to take the knees together for child's pose. Slowly sit back and wrap one arm and then the other around the legs, and allow the shoulder blades to separate apart and melt toward the floor. If your forehead doesn't touch the mat here, you can place the block there. And close the eyes. Take about 5 breaths here, and again, notice how your body feels at this point. Try and slow down the speed of the breath again. And then from here, take your hands in front of the knees and gently press yourself upright. Good. From here, we're going to take a little shoulder and chest opening posture. So I'll do this one facing you, and you may need a couple of props. If you're not comfortable sitting back on your heels like this, if that's not okay for the knees, or if the legs tend to fall asleep, you can either take a cross-legged seat, some other version of a seated pose, or you can support this one using props. 1 or 2 blocks are going to come between your heels so that your hips are elevated. The higher your hips go, the less flexion you have in the knees, so that should be a little bit more comfortable. And then if the hands don't connect comfortably behind the back with straight arms, go ahead and grab your strap or your belt, whatever you're using. Okay, so take a moment to readjust if you're choosing a different posture than this. And then we'll clasp the hands or connect the strap behind the back. Roll the shoulder blades and elbows together to open the chest and reach the fist down toward the ground to extend the arms. And then notice if there's been any change in the curvature of your spine, especially the lower back. So we don't want to have excessive arching there in this pose. So just rein that in if you feel that. Keep the shoulders back in line over the hips. And then if you can, start lifting the arms up away from the hips. Any amount, doesn't have to be a lot. Take at least 5 more breaths here, allowing your inhalation to move all the way to the top of the chest before it turns over into the exhalation. One more deep breath in. Exhale and release. You can let go of the strap or the hands and roll the shoulders a few times. Good. For this next one, we're taking a shoulder and a neck stretch. You're going to take your left hand. It probably looks like I'm doing the opposite side as you, but this is my left. You're going to wrap it around your back so it kind of rests in your lumbar arch. And then sitting up nice and tall, feel your shoulder blades draw down away from your neck. And then let your right ear drop over to your right shoulder. So away from that arm that's wrapped behind you. And just let the whole weight of your head draw down so that it helps to deepen this stretch through the side of the neck and the upper part of your trapezius muscles here. And if you want to add to that intensity, you can take your right hand and place it on the outside of your head here on the left side, kind of near the temple maybe, and just gently let that add to the intensity. You don't have to push at all, just the weight of the hand is enough. Good, keep the breath slow and steady. If you have the hand on the head, you're just going to let the arm drop, but we're going to keep the head in this position. And then we're all going to very slowly roll the chin down toward the chest. And notice where you feel the sensation change in the neck as we change our head position. So continue until you're not tilting your head to the right at all, until it feels centered, with the chin right in the middle of the collarbones. And then gently release the left arm from behind your back and just let it hang down. Stay nice and tall through the rest of your spine. So we don't want to allow the head dropping to end up rounding our upper back or shoulders. And the next time that you inhale, we're going to slowly pick the head upright to its starting position. Good. From here, we're just going to turn the head slowly right to left. And then we're going to take the other side. So starting from center, your right arm is going to wrap behind your back and just let it rest there. Shoulders drawing down away from your neck. You're going to tilt your head over to the left, letting the weight of the head fall and help to stretch the side of the neck here. And if that's enough, you can stay right there, or you can use your left hand here outside of the head, just as a little added weight. And if you're doing that, we're going to keep the head in the tilted position, but gently let go of the arm and let it relax. And then we're all going to very slowly turn the chin down toward the chest. And noticing how that stretch moves a little more into the back of the neck on the way there. And go until you no longer feel like you're tilting the head to the left side at all. You want to find that center point where the chin is right between the collarbones, and then gradually release that right arm from behind you and let it hang down. And start to exaggerate the inhalation phase of your breath so that by the end of the inhalation, you've expanded all the way up through the chest. We're trying to get the sternum and chin to almost meet each other. If you want to add to this lengthening, you can clasp both of your hands behind your head and gently slide the hands up the base of the neck until you feel the ridge of the skull here and gently press forward. If you're doing that, release the arms, let them hang down. And then inhale, we're going to very slowly pick the head up to center again, and then rotate the head right to left. Good. Hopefully the neck and shoulders feel a little more released. I'm going to have you come out of that seat and put aside anything that you were using to support yourself. And we're just going to return to table pose for a moment so that we can release the legs. Step one leg behind you, and with the toes tucked on the floor of the mat, press all the way out through the heel, straightening through the knee and stretching the back of the calf. And then release that back to table, switch sides. Other leg, tuck the toes and press out through the heel. Good, and then release that leg one final time in downward facing dog. Extend the palms a little bit ahead of the shoulders, fingers spread widely, and then lift back and up. Just notice if you feel any different in the shoulders, if you have any more ability to extend through the shoulder joint. Let your head and neck drop down. 5 more deep breaths. And with your next exhalation, gently release. Good. From here, I'm going to have you take your feet out to one side, take a seat, and have your strap or belt nearby. And once you're sitting kind of in the middle of your mat, we're going to then carefully lower to the floor. So take your time coming to your back. Once you are on your back, I'm going to have you bring your left knee into your chest and slide your right leg down on the mat. And just pause here for a moment. Let your shoulders relax against the floor. And start to actively reach through the right leg, getting as straight as you can, hamstring pressing down toward the mat, toes pointing up toward the ceiling. That leg is going to really anchor the body to the floor, especially when we come to the second variation of this pose. We're going to take the strap and set up for our hamstring sequence. You can lift your head and shoulders and reach forward to place the strap around the ball of the foot. Once you have it, lie back down, press the foot against your strap and extend that leg up into the air. And adjust if you need to, especially if there's resistance from your hamstrings. You want to get the leg nice and long and adjust your hand so that, or your hand hold rather, so that the arms are straight also. You want to feel the shoulders in contact with the floor. Feel free to close your eyes if you like here. Take another 5 breaths in this first variation before we take the second. And we're going to take both pieces of the strap in the left hand only. Right arm can release to the floor, and we're going to slowly open the left leg out to the side as the right leg actively anchors to the mat and you engage through your core to provide more stability. Once you find your comfortable range of opening, we're going to hold there. Take one more deep breath in, and as you exhale, contract the inner thigh and lift the leg back up. Change hands. You're going to let the left arm relax on the floor. Right hand holds the strap as we cross the leg over the hips. You go any amount until you feel a good stretch down the outer hip and thigh and through the IT band here. And the next time that you inhale, lift this leg back to the starting position. Exhale, bend the knee in toward your body. Remove the strap from the foot and release that leg to the floor. Good. Adjust your hips so they feel centered below you. And then we'll switch legs, bringing the right knee to the chest as you actively reach forward through the left leg. And then when you're ready for the sequence, lift yourself up. I'm going to turn myself around. And once you have the strap in place, extend that leg and make any adjustments that you need to so that this leg can straighten completely, especially if it's not quite the same as the other side. And settle the shoulders into the floor. And once you've made all your adjustments, gently close the eyes. Just pay attention to the breath, keeping it nice and even. And for our second variation, hold the strap in the right hand only. And we're going to slowly open the right leg out to the side as you actively reach through the left leg and stabilize with your core. And once you've found that whole range of motion, hold at that point for another 5 breaths. The next time that you exhale, contract your inner thigh and lift the leg up. We're going to change hands. Right arm can relax on the floor as we cross this leg over the pelvis any amount until you feel that lengthening down the outside of the hip. And then when you're ready to come out, inhale, lift the leg back up to the center, bend the knee down toward you as you exhale and remove the strap. Good, adjust the hips so they feel centered below you and just pause for a moment to notice how your hamstrings and how your lower back feel. And then we're going to take a reclined spinal twist. Let's bring the left knee into the chest. And it doesn't have to be too close to you here. It's actually better if there's a little bit of space between the front of your thigh and your rib cage. And then we're going to cross it over the body. Your left arm can float out to the side to counter the leg. And as this knee is crossing, give yourself an adjustment by sliding your bottom hip over to the opposite side. So if the knee is dropping down over to the right, your bottom hip is sliding over to the left a little. And then try and just let the leg melt completely. Notice if there's any holding happening in the hamstring or hip flexor. Take about 5 more breaths here. The next time that you inhale, unwind the twist. Plant both feet on the floor and adjust your hips so they feel centered below the shoulders, and just pause there to let the spine relax for a moment. And then whenever you're ready to switch, the left leg's gonna slide down, right knee's gonna draw in, but not too close, and then cross it over the hips for the twist. Right arm's gonna float out to counter, and then adjust your bottom hip to the opposite side. Take 5 more deep breaths here. And on your next inhalation, unwind the twist. Bend both knees and adjust your hips so they feel centered again. And just take a moment to let your lower back relax against the floor. And then bring both of your knees into the chest, hugging the arms around the legs, and just rock a little bit side to side, gently massaging your lower back and the hips. And then turn your knees around in a wide circle a couple of times in each direction to massage your SI joints. And then change direction of that circle. And then gently release. Good, so at this point, if you are near a wall and you would like to take your final relaxation with the legs up the wall, we're gonna transition to that now. If you're comfortable as you are, or you're not near a wall tonight, you can just go ahead and relax your body for Shavasana. So if you're using the wall and you need a refresher on how to best get into the pose, I'll talk you through it. I'm going to use a bolster to support my low back tonight. If you don't have this, you can certainly do it with your back flat against the ground. The easiest way is to get into a fetal pose on your side with your hips close to the wall. You can always slide farther back, but we want to get as close as possible to start. And so take your time. It's a little bit awkward if you're not used to it. But once you're on your side, then roll to your back and send your legs up. And you'll know right away if you're too close, because if the hamstrings are feeling tight, they are not going to be able to relax here. So if that's the case, start to inch yourself back. You can bend your knees, push your heels against the wall, and just little by little adjust yourself back until the entire back of your pelvis is able to settle against the ground. If you have a bolster and you want to use it, you're going to grab it, push the feet against the wall and lift the hips up and slide that bolster underneath you so it supports the arch of your lower back and the hips. And then once you are here, if you're taking legs up the wall for your Shavasana, you can let the arms extend out by your sides. And gently close your eyes. If you're not with the legs up the wall, close your eyes as well and take a moment to adjust any part of the body that you need to be completely comfortable. And then we'll all take a deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. And with that gesture, just let go of the deep breathing practice. Allow your natural breath to return to your body without any more focus or attention on the breath.
And do a very brief scan through your body. Just notice if there are any areas that are holding on to active energy still. And if so, just bring your attention to that point in the body and try and let it gradually melt away. It's okay if it doesn't happen immediately. And if Shavasana is a challenging posture for you, if you find yourself often drifting off to busy, active thoughts, you can just do a very simple breathing tool to help bring yourself back into focus. Just count the breath cycle up to either 5 or 10, and just start right over once you reach that number. Slowly bring your attention back to the surface and lengthen your breath. And in your own time, just begin to gently move through the fingers and the toes, starting to wake up your body here. If your legs are up the wall, you're going to bend the knees and bring them into the chest. And if you're on the floor, you can bend the knees and put the feet just on the mat. And we're all going to roll over to a fetal pose, just taking your time and pausing there for a brief moment on your side. You can support your head with your arm and just notice how your body feels at this point. With as little extra effort as possible, start to press yourself upright and transition back to a seated posture. And once you arrive there, keep the eyes closed for a moment and just find a tall, upright position again. And gradually deepen your breath, especially the inhalation phase, just to help with that transition away from the relaxation pose. And we'll end our session tonight chanting Om one time. If you'd like to join me, bring the palms together in front of your heart and take a deep breath in.
Exhale and gently bow your head, acknowledging yourself for making time and space to practice tonight and expressing gratitude to your own body. And thank you all so much for joining me tonight. I hope you enjoyed this session, and I hope you have a great rest of your night. If you have anything that you want to chat about before you sign off, feel free to